Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Super Paranormal Chronicles. My name is Lee. I'm your friendly host, and that's host and not ghost. And tonight, I've got somebody who's almost been on this show as many times as what I have. Cyn Shrader Hill. Cyn is a self-published author, editor, and publisher, and she's also the founder of Elk Valley Paranormal. Cyn, welcome back, my darling. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I have missed you.
I've missed you too. And why is it that your voice changes as soon as you go on air? It's like so polite and like innocent, and you're not at all.
Well, no, it changes during the interview. So depending on how you're talking to me, I will change my voice to match that, and we'll go from there. You never know what you'll hear. You never know.
Are you one of these people that you never know what's going to come out your mouth next? Because I'm exactly the same.
Yes.
Sometimes it shocks me what comes out of my mouth.
Yes, absolutely.
So, since we've been talking last for one of your previous books, we're here tonight because, I'll let you tell us why you're here tonight.
Because I've
You've
missed
forgotten,
you.
Haven't you? You've forgotten. You've forgotten why you're here, haven't you?
I am celebrating an early birthday for you. Happy early birthday for you and Tommy Cohen.
So you're only here because you've missed me. You're not here to talk about a new book at all, are you?
No, I mean, that'll come out as we go, but no, I am here for you.
You suck up. You just complete suck up.
And that's why you love me.
That's very true. You're my, I don't know. Yeah, let's go with it. Tonight, you're your bestest American.
Yes.
Okay, so this new book.
Yes.
Or books plural.
Yeah, it started as book. My friend Mark, who does the illustrations and the covers of all my books, I edit for him. He does those for me in return. And that's how we work our little publishing company. Mark had just a multitude of newspaper clippings. And he said, I don't have time for this, but I know you do. And you take them, do whatever you want, put my name on it too. So it's going to be, the book is under both of our names. And it's going to be Unquiet Dead. The first one, it was Headless Ghost. And then it evolved. So Headless Ghost has become Headless Ghost and Colorful Spirits to include all of the ghosts and phantoms that you hear, like a black shadow from so-and-so and white lady of, there's so many castles that have a white lady. There's the brown lady or brown woman of Raynham Hall. There's the blue lady, a blue light. So green lady of Thorpe Hall. All these people, and I've just mixed those in. There's headless animals, including a bear and a cow and several different things like that. Cats and dogs, lots of people, lots of railroad wrecks where they're walking down the track. But it's not just that. It's just some of the oddest stories you've ever heard from 1700s, 1800s. And stories back in these 1800 papers that were talking about something that happened back in the 1400s, 1600s, different things like that. So they're incredible stories. And this book has evolved into at least 10. So there's going to be part 1 and part 2 of Headless Ghost and Colorful Spirits. The second version or second coming out, the third book is going to be Monsters and Mayhem. And it's going to be the vampire craze and banshees and different things like that. Wild men. Just all the crazy stuff that that actually were in newspapers. It's incredible.
Great. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail in a minute, but the one most important question I've got for you right now, colourful, does it have a U in it, or are you spelling it the American way without a U, or are you spelling it the correct way? with a U?
I'm spelling it the American way because that is me. I took all the U's out. I am so sorry.
That's
However,
it. If it's not spelled correctly.
there is a Gray Lady of Liberty Hall in the States. There is also a Gray Lady over in the UK. I am keeping Gray Lady, Grey, for the UK spirits. So there is that. I did compromise there.
Okay, I'm going to let you off just this once.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's quite funny that you mentioned the Grey Lady, because in my hometown of Boston, not the one your side, but the one in England, we have a big church that's got a tower. The tower is like 300 to 400 feet high. And story goes that back in the day, a woman threw herself off the tower. And she is called the Grey Lady.
What is the tower called? What is the church?
It's called the Boston Stump, and it's called the Stump because the top 30 foot of it, or whatever it was, wasn't finished.
Okay,
but it's like a 400-foot tower.
Wow!
And because we're crazy in England, we call it the Boston Stump. So we get tourists coming to the town looking around for a tree stump, going like, I'm trying to find this stump, and I just go, it's up there. Yeah. So Google it afterwards, the Boston Stump. I
will.
Yeah. The only reason it wasn't bombed in World War II is because the Germans used it to navigate their way home.
Wow.
Because it was like 400 feet high. They used it for navigation.
And it was already 400 feet high, yet unfinished.
Yeah, and they kind of missed the top 20, 30 foot or whatever it was.
Oh, my goodness. You Brits,
I know,
overachievers.
So I'm from England, where the history comes from.
Yes. Yes.
But why do you think it is, though, that a lot of these spirits kind of have colours to them? You're a researcher. Why do you think this is?
It could be so many different things. It could be their basic aura. It could be chakra. It could be just so many different things. It makes me wonder about the brown lady. Why is she brown?
It's got nothing to do with her toilet habits.
I don't think so either. Yeah,
okay.
I don't think so either. But that's just such a strange. That one kind of stands out as different. There's a lot of white, a lot of gray, a lot of black figures, a lot of there's a few red, lots of blue, a few green. So it just makes you wonder. I'm thinking aura, and even possibly that particular area's the location's energy.
But it would make sense that it's the aura, because obviously the aura can be different colours.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than it being something like what they're wearing,
right,
or the environment, it would make perfect sense that it is their aura, that the colour is what people are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you mentioned black, are you talking about black like ghost, or are you talking about shadow people? There
is one story that Mark found the other night, and he sent it to me. It's actually from somewhere, I believe it's Fort Oglethorpe in Georgia, which is very close to here, where I live in Tennessee, an hour and a half away. But he said, read that and tell me what you think. And it's about this black ghost that rises from the mire and just kind of oozes up and is blacker than black. That we think is a shadow person. The other ghosts that it's a black figure of such and such hall, and The Man in Black. It's not Johnny Cash, but it is this ghost from this particular location called the Man in Black, or Woman in Black, Woman in Black in the Yard, different things like that. They're just spirits. But that particular one makes us think, yeah, that's a shadow person.
Yeah, and that would make sense. But then, yeah, if you want to stay on the same theme for a few seconds, the shadow figure, if it's blacker than black, could also be the Hat Man.
It could be the what?
The Hat Man.
Yeah, yes.
Because there's quite a few stories about the Hat Man being blacker than black with the rimmed hat. What's your thoughts?
It could very well be. They did not mention a hat on this particular figure, though. It just terrorized that area. So, who's to say? Maybe someone did see it with a hat. Because they appear to different people in different ways. So possibly it did show up as a hat man to somebody.
And, another common one that we see is, the lady in white, or, a white flowing dress. Could we have a place about an hour away from us where newly married couple, he owned a mill and she got pulled into the machinery and killed instantly. But then she seemed to be at the window in a white dress. Now, is the white dress a wedding dress? Back in the 1800s, they used to wear the big dresses with the bustles and stuff like that. So is it that kind of dress? But when you're talking about ladies in white, I think they do tend to talk about the dress rather than an aura per se.
Right. And interestingly enough, my mom fell, I guess it was about 2.5 years ago or so. And at that point, she thought that was ending her life. It was a bad fall. And she looked up. Now, she didn't tell me this for 3 days, but she looked up and she saw my grandmother, who had passed in 2002. 3 days later, she tells me, and she said, I saw Mother. And I said, you saw Nanny? And she said, I did. And I said, well, tell me. And she said she just shook her head at me. And I knew it wasn't my time yet. And I said, what was she wearing? She was in a white dress. My grandmother never wore a white dress, ever. So was that just what Mom saw as her being a white figure and it just became a white dress? Or was she in a white dress like, the angelic robes or whatever? Who knows? I don't know.
And that's also a good point, because if an individual sees an apparition, for want of an easy word, is it the actual angel that they're seeing, or are they actually wearing a white dress? Because you don't see it and only that person does, it is very difficult to kind of try to think about what they actually saw. And if they're not very good about describing things, or they're still quite ill when they saw it,
right?
If the brain can't understand what it's seeing, then it's going to make it into something that person can understand. Right.
And maybe not get it across as to what it actually was to somebody else. Or, it's all, I think it's all perception. And I think it's all related to your energy, how your energy interacts with something else, because I might perceive the brown lady as a lady in white. You might perceive her as a lady in black. I think it's all perception.
Yeah, because some people, and I do too, if you have to go and get an eye test and you get these dots that the numbers in all the dots. Yeah, some people can see certain ones and other people can't. And I think I'm like red orange that I can't see. And yeah, I used to have tests when I was a kid, but you may be able to see those numbers perfectly, but you might not be able to see the green blue. So everybody's perspective, what I see as green, you might see it as a different shade of green, or
Right.
even a different color completely.
Right. And it can change over time. So
That's called old age. Old age, that is.
Unfortunately, I think so too.
So
let's call it knowledge.
yes, yeah, more experience than knowledge.
Yes.
There we go. That definitely works. And if anybody calls me old, no, I'm more experienced than you.
Yes.
But it's never people that are older that call you old, is it? They always call you young whippersnapper or whatever it is.
Last night, my husband and I were leaving a restaurant about 30 miles from here, and this fella, he was with 3 of his friends, so his girlfriend, it looked like, and another couple, and he jumped at the door and opened it for us. And we thanked him, and we walked out about 5 or 6 feet, and I said, "We must really look old." And he says, "Yeah, I think all we needed was a cane."
But the thing is, though, did you get old people benefits at the restaurant?
We did not. No percentage off, nothing. So I guess we just looked haggard.
Yeah, sort of like, oh, they must have had a really rough paper round. It's like, so how many? You said that the first 2 books are going to be Headless Ghosts, which we'll talk about in a minute, but your colourful, spelled incorrectly spirits. How many stories incorporate the colourful spirits? Have you got a rough idea? Because I know you've not finished it yet.
As the colourful ghosts themselves, how many? It's only a fraction of the Headless. They're both of those 2 books together are about 600 pages, and the colorful spirits in there probably make up 10 to 15%, and the rest is Headless. So I wanted a little something besides Headless, and I thought colorful would interject kind of nicely through there and, be a little different. And instead of just having ghost stories, regular ghost stories, because that's coming up later anyway. There's also going to be a poltergeist book. There's going to be haunted objects. There's going to be animal ghosts by themselves. Let's see. There was a spiritualism. So talking about all the mediumships and the seances over the years and spiritualism as it grew, and just, how some were caught in, they would have hands coming about the room. Well, it was caught how they were doing it and different things like that. So it's been fun. It's been kind of amazing in what they actually printed in the newspaper.
And it's funny because just before you mentioned that segment, I was going to say to you, well, yeah, you say that you've got the 10 books coming out. So could you tell us what are some of the other subjects? So your telepathy might be spot on tonight for sure.
I'm on.
You're
yes.
on it. You're on it, aren't you? So, yeah, as a kid, I think everybody, doesn't matter where you live, always heard stories about the headless horseman, or the stereotypical person that's been like executed by the guillotine, carrying the head in the hands. So how did these all come about? Where did you start with regard to that?
I unfortunately I have developed a habit. I'll just tell you right now, I'm hooked on newspaper.
Killing people, like cutting heads off, or
no, Newspapers.com. I have a membership now, and it fills my life with hours and hours and hours of just searching for headless ghost stories. And you would be surprised how many there are. Just, it's incredible. And how many different kinds. There's a few headless nuns out there. There's a few headless knights out there. And lots, of course, Ann Boleyn and her father even ride around with their heads and in headless carriages, or the headless horse carriages, driven by headless men. So it's incredible how many of them are out there.
Now, you mentioned Ann Boleyn, and for people my side of the pond when I was there, headless horsemen and headless ghosts were pretty much the norm. There's a lot of ghosts that were allegedly spotted that did not have heads because the guillotine was quite a popular pastime, shall we say?
Yeah.
Back in the day. And even in France and places like that, the guillotine was. What should we do tonight, Cyn? Well, let's go downtown. They do an execution using the guillotine. Oh, cool, that'd be great. Yeah. So you can kind of understand why there's a lot of stories about headless ghosts. But you mentioned, people in a carriage that were headless, but then you mentioned the guys that were guiding the horses headless as well. Now, it seems strange to me that, okay, the people in the carriage may have been like guillotined.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense that the people guiding the horses were as well. So,
the horses themselves. Why are they headless? Yeah. And as far as the headless horseman, there's variations of that story all over the world. So I happened to find that clipping, which I was fortunate to find. And it tells about just the different versions of that headless rider. Some don't even ride horses. So, it's just, it's been entertaining and very educational. But, why? There's one story about a headless cow that has escaped a slaughterhouse. However, the head runs in front of the cow and the body runs behind it a few feet.
It's not in Florida, is it?
What is it?
So it's not in Florida, is it? Because strange things happen there.
It's in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of, and I've poked at my husband about this because he's from Pennsylvania. What are you Pennsylvania people doing up there? Why have you got headless spooks and headless?
Don't ask, Cyn. Don't ask what they get up to at night time.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah. So I know that you can't really tell us a lot of the things, because if you did, there'd be no point in buying your book. But have there been a couple of stories that you decided that you're not going to put in the book that you can tell us about?
There's been a couple, yes, that were just, to me, over the top racial. And it was back in the day where they could print anything, because life of some people were not respected as being as important as theirs was. And I thought, no, I'm not going to put that in there. And there's been one or two where it was something completely different, where, and I might end up doing a comedy book out of it, where these headless spooks ended up being something human, where they were dressing up as headless things and scaring the bejeebies out of people.
Scooby-Doo. It's like, that's what it is. Yeah, back in the day, Scooby-Doo, pull the mask off, and it's like...
Yeah. This has happened so much, and when they would find out some of the hauntings, there was a one man that was paying his patrons. Oh, if you can spend the night in the upstairs apartment, I will pay you blah 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 blah. But you have to spend the entire night. You have to go up without a light, without a weapon, and just yourself. And so they would go up, someone would lead them up because they couldn't see in the dark, and take them into this room, lock them in, and the man himself that was going to pay them is the one doing it. He had levers and things downstairs. Have you ever seen the ghost in Mr. Chicken?
I'm sorry. What?
Have you ever seen
in Mr. Chicken? Is that some
and
perverted? Oh, and I thought you said in.
No, and Mr. Chicken. It's you remember Barney Fife from Mayberry?
No, I'm from England. Remember, we didn't have TV.
No. Yeah,
it's still black and white in the 80s.
What was his real name? Anyway, he played Barney. He was the actor that played Barney Fife on Mayberry RFD, and he was always, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he was always so physical in everything. You could tell what he was feeling, and he would, just be shivering all over from fright. Well, he was the lead actor in The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, and he was a newspaper reporter who agreed to stay overnight in this haunted house. Well, the haunted house was being haunted by all these levers and different things, and it was hilarious. That's what this reminded me of. You've got to watch that show. It's a movie. You've got to watch it.
You've got a really weird upbringing. You seriously have. Some of the weird shows you watch.
I cannot tell you how many times I watched that as a kid.
That explains so much.
The bleeding portrait and the eyes that watched you. And
oh, yeah. So, well, with the paintings, you've normally got two holes cut out and then the eyes moved.
Yes.
Back to Scooby-Doo again.
See, they got it from The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Oh, I will take your word for that. So, when you see these stories and you start reading about them, are many of them really graphic, or is it a case of it's a ghost with no head and as simple as that? Or is there any kind of trauma evident in a lot of these stories?
I found that if they know what happened to the person, they go into graphic detail about what happened and how it happened and on what day it happened and how they fell and where their head landed, and just incredible detail. If they don't know, they're just going to say a headless form showed up and has been terrorizing the community ever since, and they're trying to lay the ghost. So it's been funny.
Because and I want to go back to the reason why the headless, because obviously I mentioned about the guillotine and stuff like that, but back in the 1600s when you'd got like Salem and stuff like that, a lot of people were hung.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there's a connection, if you like, between a ghost or a spirit being headless and the fact that they were hung or they had their head cut off and that kind of thing. But then, as I've mentioned, it doesn't explain the animals. It doesn't explain, other people that are connected.
No.
So it's I've got that whizzing around my head right now, and it's like, how can this be? But it's weird how, depending on your culture, you will have headless horsemen or headless ghosts. Yeah, I know back in the day they used to be carrying the head under their arm kind of thing. But Did you find that one particular country or one particular like religion, for example, was more paramount than others?
You Brits have the
I knew
most
you'd.
headless ghosts.
I knew you'd say that. Thanks. Yeah. Cheers.
It's you. And for good reason.
Yeah, because we used to do it as a hobby.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Let's take a picnic and watch the, beheading.
Absolutely.
And, well, that's unfortunately what used to happen here for lynchings. People used to make picnic lunches and go to the churchyard and watch hangings and stuff. It's just, we've gone from that being every day and everybody's used to it to, oh my God, they actually did that back then. So I don't know. And here it seems like we've got more headless people because of train wrecks and walking the tracks and being run over by a train and things like that.
I've been there, done that. Not that I laid in front of a train, but I have been to I have been to somebody that did lay in front of a train, and the head rolled down the track, and when we went to walking towards it, the eyes were still open, and it's looking at you, and it's sort of like, And there's only so many ways how you can pick up a head, because you have to put it in the body bag, but it's like you can't pick it up like a bowling ball because that's just not
You're
professional.
being serious.
Yeah.
I thought you were telling me another story that had happened.
No.
You were actually being serious from when you were paramedic.
Yes. Correct.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was literally the train wheels went straight across the shoulders and straight across the hips. So, yeah, all four quarters were in different directions, but the head kind of went down the train track. And it's like, yeah, you have to keep your head when all around you are losing theirs.
Yeah, right.
literally. So, the fact that you've got these books and you're very close to having them published. You mentioned off camera, but I'd like to ask you again, when are you hoping to get these out?
I'm hoping to get the first two, part 1 and 2, Headless Ghost and Colorful Spirits. And again, the series is called Unquiet Dead. So these first two books, I hope to be self-published by the end of July. Monsters and Mayhem, I would love to have out by October.
Yeah, you do realize that you are allowed to put your feet up and rest. You know, both of us are not spring chickens anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I like to think I am
a spring chicken. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you see, we're going back to the chickens, aren't we? Again, let's get off the chicken subject. So, what kind of things can we expect from the monsters books?
Lots of vampire stories. There was Rhode Island actually went through a vampire epidemic at one point, and their most famous vampire was named Mercy Brown. She was a young girl that I believe, like most of the others, had tuberculosis, and so for whatever reason, they thought TB was vampirism. And some of them were dug up after being buried, their hearts removed, burned. If they were lucky, they wouldn't go after the family. But some of them went after family members that were still alive to go ahead and just get rid of them. So, it's of course there's also some vampire stories from overseas, around the Romanian area.
And well, yeah, Transylvania is extremely popular.
Yes,
but
yes.
It's quite funny because, folklore says in England that Dracula arrived in a small, seaside town called Whitby, which is about 5 hours north of London. And rumour has it is that his grave is in the graveyard. So you have to walk up these steps, and they've got a nice little abbey that you can see in the summer. And there's a sign on the church door that please do not go hunting for Dracula's grave in the cemetery because he's not real. And it's so funny how people will go there to try to find Dracula's grave, and they will pick a grave and go, oh, that's it. No, that's some poor sucker that died like a few hundred years ago. It's got nothing to do with Dracula. But yeah, people go looking for Dracula's grave.
That's a great sign.
Yeah, it's fab. It's absolutely. I think I might have a picture of it somewhere. I'll have to see if I can dig it out. But Whitby, because of that, Whitby celebrates Halloween in a really fantastic way. So a lot of people turn up in Victorian costume like Dracula used to wear, and there will be wooden casks propped up in the bars where you can literally go into it and like have your picture taken. And we turned up on a Halloween once with not real. Well, we knew it was Halloween, but we didn't realize this was happening. And to see all the gothic people walking around dressed as vampires,
wow,
it was fabulous.
I bet absolutely it was
fabulous. Yeah,
I bet it was.
But talking about vampires, do you have? I know one of the biggest places for vampires in the US is New Orleans.
Yeah, and a lot of that is to do with voodoo, I think. Too. There's a crossover there. Vampirism and voodoo. I don't know why just vampirism itself would be there by itself, but then why would it be in Rhode Island either? So,
well, went out for some milk, got lost, I
don't know.
But I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Somebody Saint Germain is apparently a well-known vampire in Orleans, and there's this, and there's stories about him, and he's been there for quite a few hundreds of years.
And I've probably got some of those stories. I've just refused to read them right now because I'm working on this particular, section. Some I kind of knew about, I'd heard about, but I'd not heard about that particular person. I've also werewolves are going to be in that book as well. So there's those stories, and people that actually had extra hair on their bodies were considered werewolves, and they would be traveling.
That's not me.
They would be traveling with the circuses. There was a circus train wreck here in Tennessee years and years and years ago, and I think it was two wild men escaped and were never caught again. And then for years later, they were seen occasionally and never trapped again. But stories you hear about things like that. It's been fun.
Are you going to go down the cryptid route at all?
Yes. That was the 9th book, I think. And then when I said that, Mark says, well, you've got to do UFOs. Yeah.
So
I do.
So you're literally covering every aspect of the paranormal.
Yeah. And learning as I go, because I don't know. I don't know all there is to know, certainly about hauntings, but I'm more familiar, with being able to talk about some of them. Cryptids and UFOs, I just, barely know, just a little bit. So I'm kind of interested in getting into that. There were all kinds of articles of UFOs that have been seen over the years. And He found an article the other day that was dinosaurs in the sky. What? What? What kind of dinosaurs? What are we talking about now?
What does your husband drink?
He just ignores me.
Yeah, but it's funny you mentioned that because I got interviewed on another podcast, and she likes talking about the paranormal, and it was like, "Have you seen a UFO? Nope, don't think so. Have you seen a cryptid? Nope, don't think so." And it's sort of like, yeah, so yeah, I specialize. Yeah, I use the term loosely in ghosts and spirits, but yeah, I live in a city, so we're not going to be able to see much in the sky due to light pollution.
Right.
So yeah, and we don't always go into the woods late at night because again we're in the city. But it's like, yeah, the start of this conversation's not going down too well because I keep answering no.
Right. Yeah. Interestingly enough, 5 miles from where we live is a cryptid that has been seen since the 1970s called the Flintville Monster. And it's a Bigfoot type cryptid. I've never seen it. I had never heard of it until I started talking to podcasters that would ask me, well, where did you say you're from? Well, I live in Flintville, Tennessee, the home of the Flintville Monster. What? What? And then to find out I'm 5 miles from where it was originally seen. So there's that.
So, Cyn, got a question for you.
Okay, Lee.
What's the Flintwood Monster?
The Flintville Monster is such as a Bigfoot. However, it's more aggressive. Like when it was first seen in the 1970s, it was coming after a little boy that was playing in the field. His mom happened to look out the window and see this thing coming for her child. She got to her son and brought him into the house before the thing could get him. But that was the first sighting. Since then, he has been seen. Now, yes, there is moonshine around this area, so there could be that involved. I don't know. I've never seen him, but several people have. My friend Bob Dahl. Have you met Bob?
I know of Bob. I've not spoke to him.
You need to speak to Bob because he actually put together the Flintville Monster 50 years later.
Okay.
He did a documentary. He's fabulous. He's great.
I will reach out to Bob Dahl.
You should. He's about 20 minutes from me. We keep talking about getting together and going to look for ghosts and cryptids, but we haven't done that yet. He will be at Goblin Con with me. I think he's actually going to be the MC of the speakers and stuff. So I'll get to see Bob.
Let's put a plug in then. When's Goblin Con?
Goblin Con is in Hopkinsville in August, and I believe it's around the 22nd of August. It's going to be a Saturday and a Sunday, and lots of speakers. I'm not a speaker this year. I wish I was, but I will be a vendor up there. Mark, my partner in publishing and writing and all that good stuff, will be right next to me at the table next to me doing readings for anyone interested in that kind of thing. He's fabulous. And he'll also have some of his books there and artwork. So
cool.
It's going to be fun.
So, yeah, sounds like it. So apart from all these books that you're going to be writing, and they're all 10 of them are going to be out before Christmas.
No.
And
possibly 3.
Look, there's 24 hours in a day. What excuse have you got? Come on.
Well, I'm also editing Eric Freeman Sims books. So I've got to do those before Goblin Con.
Just a little bit. Okay, so apart from the books and apart from Goblin Con, what's next on the agenda for Cyn?
Let's see. Really, just trying to get as much done as I can with books, and because I know I've got several of Mark's to do as well. Just trying to get my life in order so I can get these things done and get to GoblinCon, because there's other places I would like to go, and we're planning next year on going to Waverly. Yeah, so that'll be fun. And
is that for an investigation or?
Yes. So that will be interesting. Mark's going to be leading it because he wants to do an investigation that centers around spiritualism. He, being a psychic medium and into the old school spiritualism, he can bring a little bit to the table differently. So we're going to be table tipping and that kind of thing at Waverly to see how that goes.
That sounds fun.
Yes.
Okay, my darling, all good things come to an end, unfortunately.
No,
let's stay and talk for hours.
We could do it.
Yeah, we can. Let's just quickly call Tommy Cullen. We'll get him on and we'll have a chat, all three of us.
Please do.
Yeah, we'll do that one of these days. We'll get all three of us on. And then you'll need a translator when me and Tommy start talking together.
Probably.
Cyn, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the best with your books that you're writing and will be writing. Have fun at GoblinCon. GoblinCon. I called it Goblet. I thought, oh my God, I'm not even going to take that out. But for now, my darling, it's been an absolute pleasure to see you again. As always, love you lots. You take care, and no doubt we'll be speaking soon. I can guarantee it.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Okay, you take care. Bye-bye.